If you're into cars and you haven't been living under a rock this week, you might have heard about some big news coming out of the National Motor Museum at Beaulieu. When the news broke online, it was about as clear as mud, if I'm honest, but now a few days have passed, the silt is starting to settle at the bottom of the pond, and we can try and get a picture of what's going on. I'm going to try and relay what I've learned and try and keep it simple, otherwise I won't understand it either. Normally I wouldn't get involved because, well, I don't really care, but Beaulieu, it's a place that's kind of close to my heart, really. I grew up in the area near Southampton and first visited Beaulieu Motor Museum when I was 5, something like that, and have on and off been to Beaulieu in the years since then, which was a really long time ago, and have gone from being a little kid who visited it to being a slightly taller, skinnier kid with an annoying squeaky voice who visited it, to then becoming a young adult and taking my own cars there, and then going full circle and now being a parent who has taken his kids there. So I visited the place a lot, and there is a unique kind of vibe, there's a unique kind of feeling about the place that you just, I don't know, you just don't get it anywhere else. So when I saw some big news surrounding Beaulieu circling in the sort of car world earlier this week, the week I've recorded this, well, I was a bit worried because on the night I learned of the news, there were only 2 sources I could see that were reporting anything was happening. One of them began with M, I can't remember what it was, and the other one was Practical Classics. Now, I chose Practical Classics because I thought that's much more legit. I know that one, I know it would be right. Only, I don't know, the Practical Classics statement that went out was kind of really hard to follow and a bit random and didn't actually say anything except something was happening. I mean, the next day came along and Beaulieu updated and gave everyone a statement, because up until that point there had been radio silence, and then Practical Classics updated and everyone else, and now everyone is much more aligned and on track. But I wanted to know exactly what had happened. I wanted to know exactly why this has occurred, what the details are behind it in simple terms. And so I asked them. I just asked Beaulieu. I just emailed and said, what's going on? I mean, to be honest, my reasons were fairly selfish because, like, everyone says everything is down south. There's nothing up north. Everything's down south. And that's just wrong. There's nothing down here. I am about as south right now. I'm sitting as south as you can go in the UK right now without being in water. And there's just not a lot here. In terms of cars, if you want literature, yeah, great. Or nautical stuff, fill your boots. But cars, you got Beaulieu, you got Goodwood. Anyway, so the following day after the news kind of went viral a little bit, and all the content creators like myself, wrote things online going, oh, I'm so sad. Some actual news came out. Beaulieu released a statement. I have the statement. I've written it down. Following the recent statement from the National Motor Museum Trust about a search for a new home, we wanted to provide some further clarification about what this means for the future of the Beaulieu attraction. So this is coming from Beaulieu. I'll get onto that in a second. When Edward, Lord Montague, first opened Palace House to visitors in 1952, he displayed 5 veteran cars in the entrance hall as a tribute to his father and motoring pioneer, John Scott Montague. This was the beginning of what became the Montague Motor Museum before evolving into the National Motor Museum as we know it today. While we acknowledge the important role the Trust has played in Beaulieu's story, motoring is an integral part of the Montague family history and will continue to have an important place in our Beaulieu visitor experience. The day-to-day operation of the museum will not change from a visitor experience perspective, and Beaulieu intends to continue to operate a motor museum in the future, as it has done for over 70 years. A significant amount of vehicles in the museum are either on loan or owned by the Montague family and will continue to stay there. Beaulieu's motoring events will be unaffected, with no change to our events calendar, and we look forward to welcoming visitors in the much anticipated International Auto Jumble in September. I live near Beaulieu. I've been to one in my whole 43 years on the planet. I've been to one Auto Jumble. That's completely irrelevant, isn't it? While the Trust considers future options away from Beaulieu to achieve the charity's long-term aims, its lease at Beaulieu continues for another 4 years. After that time, there is an exciting opportunity to look to the future and reshape how the museum at Beaulieu will look and feel. Beaulieu will continue to be a leading visitor attraction on the south coast and welcome thousands of visitors each year for generations of families to enjoy memorable days out. So in a nutshell, we've split up. We're keeping the house and we're going to put our own stuff in it and it will look different. We're going to redecorate to get rid of every like trace of them, RX, and they're going to go off and do their own thing. That's basically what the statement says, and leans on the fact that there's a bit of history with them. They're basically leaning into the fact that historically they started the place, which they did. In 1952, the Montague family started displaying cars in the front of their own house. They had their big posh old house and they had a collection of cars and they started displaying them. And word got around, people started going down there, and by about the mid-60s, they had enough people going there to think, you know what, we should actually have their own building here, because like we've got so many people coming, we can't just put them all in the hallway. I mean, their hallway's probably massive. So they build a museum. In 1972, they start a trust. Okay, a charitable trust. It's not a business, it's a trust. The trust is there to run the museum. That is its job. It is there to to curate the museum. It is there to get in artifacts, collect stuff, get exhibits, change the bog roll in the toilets. They're there to run the museum. So being a trust, it is technically a charitable organisation. That means that there will have to be certain duties that it has to adhere to every year. That it will do things for the local area. It will do things for the heritage sector. It will, in terms of collecting artifacts and things like that. There's probably some tax benefits as well. So since 1972, the trust has been doing a fine job, really, of running the museum. It's a fairly big site, but they've absolutely filled it with cars. They've got more cars there than they know what to do with, as far as I can see. They have got in the background, the archives are vast. They have got a lot of stuff in the background you can't see when you go in there. Important stuff, old stuff. I know because I've actually been there. I went there to pick up some Citroen bits. I know, what the odds. I went there to pick up some Citroen bits that had been donated to the museum from a family or something, and I think a lot of it was France based, but a lot of it was kind of Slough stuff. It had been donated to the museum, and the museum had said to Citroen, really, you should have this. This is like proper, it was like Old Testament Citroen. So Citroen being Citroen were like, meh. But LaVenture Citroen, which is the people in France who actually bothered, they said, no, we'll have it. And then they arranged through the Citroen Car Club to get someone local to Beaulieu to go and pick it all up. So I went into the archives, or the reception for the archives, and the lady came out, she wheeled the trolley out, and she had the soft white gloves on and everything. She's very, very posh. And I took all these 100-year-old booklets and binders and folders and things and threw them into the back of a BX, which had a load of jerry cans in the boot, before hoofing it back across the forest. So that's probably not what they had in mind, but yeah, Citroens aren't posh. Anyway, long story short, the trust have built up a big collection of cars and have even more stuff out of sight, behind the scenes, important stuff, things that you can refer back to, articles that you can research, things that probably haven't even been put online, things that aren't known online because they haven't been electronically recorded yet. The trust has a lot of stuff. They've got a big responsibility, and they've stepped up to it, and they've curated all these artifacts, and they are the National Motor Museum. In all these years since the 70s, the buildings haven't changed that much, but there is a kind of unique vibe there, not least because a single-tracked train drives overhead every 20 minutes or so. It's a unique kind of place. It feels the same going there now as it did when I was a kid. Probably because it hasn't really changed visually much, but in a way that's a good thing. It's a unique kind of building. This is where things start to get a little bit messier. You see, Montague family began the trust in 1972 to run the museum. So the Montague family is represented as Beaulieu Enterprises Limited. That is the business. It's the business that owns the ground. It's the business that owns, technically I imagine it owns the house and everything, the ruins of the abbey maybe. It owns the monorail. As I say, it owns a lot of the events that go on there. It owns the buildings and everything like that. This is a business. The trust that was set up by them is the other side. You've got two parties involved here, and the trust is the charitable organisation, or it is a non-profit organisation that is there to record heritage, if you like, to preserve heritage. These are the two opposing sides in this. So one is basically a landlord, and the other is the tenant. You can see where this one's going. Back in 1972, the trust, when it was started, it was given a 60-year lease in the building. Nice big long lease, 60 years, I think, and I don't know for sure, but I think rent-free, which kind of makes sense because the family started the trust to look after their museum, so why would you charge them rent? And so 60 years from 1972, that lease will expire in 2032. The problem that has arisen is because there has been a disagreement between the trust, the people who like look after the museum and make the museum what it is, and the business, the family, Beaulieu Enterprises, the estate, if you like. There's a disagreement between the two, and it's quite a big one. So the family represents the business side of the place, as I say, the events, the location, the buildings, everything like that, and the trust represents everything that goes on inside it. But it's not just that, because they own 51% of the cars currently that are in there are owned by or in care of the trust, and then another however many percentage motorbikes. It's again the majority of motorbikes owned by the trust. So while the family and Beaulieu Enterprises do own a lot of the vehicles, the bulk of what you see there is owned by the trust. So if the trust was to leave, they pick up all their cars and take them with them. I don't know which ones are theirs, don't ask me, I have no idea. Let's put it into a different context. It's like Wembley Stadium falls out with the FA. Wembley Stadium being Beaulieu, FA being the trust. Wembley Stadium still have a stadium, and they can do what they want with it. They could put on their own games in there, their own football matches, and they can use it for other things, their events. They can have bands in there and boxing matches and all sorts. But the trust aren't going to play England games there anymore. FA have said no. So you've got a stadium, but not the bulk of what was going on inside it. The premises are still there, and it can be used for what it was being used for, probably on a smaller scale, but the kind of bulk of what was going on there is going. So the big question really is why? Why is this happening? Well, as you can imagine, as with most things in the world that go wrong, it boils down to money. The trust want to keep evolving. They have evolved the museum over time, and they want to keep evolving it. They want to keep expanding it. They want to keep bringing in new things, new features, and to do this, they need more money. And to get more money, because they're a trust, they can apply for National Lottery Heritage grants. They can secure private investments and things like that, because it's a charitable organisation. But if they're too closely linked to the business side, who owns the building and everything, which they kind of are linked because originally they were one and the same in 1972, then the National Lottery grants don't qualify. In fact, they have actually been rejected for one already, I think. So they need to have enough distance from a business to make them a legit charity or make them a legit trust, but at the same time they have to have security and financial security going forward. So they have to have a long lease. They can say, look, we're here, you can invest money in us, you can give us the grant, and we will build the amazing educational place, and because we're here for like 50 years, we're good. But they can't do that because the family don't want them to stay on their terms. The family have given them terms they want them to agree to, but the trust have said, well, no, we don't want to pay rent, and actually we could do with a few more financial, like, you know, a few more financial, not favours, but a little bit more flexibility, if you like, in the finances, but we're trying to build something big and something good. The trust believes that without building the something big and something good, they will struggle to keep going, and you kind of think, well, yeah, because there's a lot of other museums out there, aren't there? And they're getting bigger, and there's new ones popping up, and you think, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, there is an element of competition in it, as much as trying to, you know, preserve everything. But the business side of it is going, well, no, like, this land is worth a lot of money, and like wealthy people going to wealth, aren't they? People who've got a lot of money, they want more. I imagine they've said, you have to pay us this every month, and the trust has said, we can't afford that. And even if we could afford it, like, it screws up all our future plans. And so they reach an impasse. Rock, meet, hard place. So the trust has actually gone back to the family and said, and I have been reported this directly from the trust. The trust has gone back and they have proposed a 50-year lease. They wanted to stay for 50 years, rent-free, with some favourable financial arrangements and things, obviously in return for bringing in the majority of the footfall. I mean, if you take that car museum away, then the amount of people who are going to come and see the old house and like some ruins, it's going to drop dramatically, the amount of people who are going to go there, if the bulk of the museum goes, unless Beaulieu Estates build their own thing or fill it with their own stuff, which they may well try and do. And basically, the family have said to the trust, we can't offer you this going forward. We cannot meet your needs. So, needs not met. piss off. And you have to stress this, the Trust didn't want to leave. The Trust doesn't want to leave. They want to have their cake and eat it, but they want to build what they want to build. They've got visions and they think it's viable, it's doable, it's realistic, but there is an impasse. The family don't agree, basically. So what changes in the future? Well, for now, nothing. Over the next few years, it will obviously change, but at least for the next couple, I'd be very surprised if you saw any change at all. In fact, I think you're going to see less changes now leading up to like 2030 than you would have done anyway, because you're not, they're going to be tightening their belts, aren't they? They're going to be trying to keep things simple. If anything, they're going to be streamlining staff. They're going to be trying to, tighten the purse strings where they can on both sides, because this is going to hit both of them in the pocket. And yeah, they're probably not they're not going to want to make any big changes and change anything. So I should imagine that if you want to visit Beaulieu, you can just go down there and do it. In fact, they have said it's business as usual. I think it's going to be for like 2 or 3 years yet, until you start seeing things change. Of course, there is always the chance that an agreement might be reached. They might all get back around the table and go, look, this is silly. And to be honest, impartial view, I'm not connected to either of them. It is bloody silly. Sort it out. Like, come on, that place is unique. What are you doing? The place is special. You go down to the New Forest, you go to Beaulieu Motor Museum, and you're in a unique setting with all the ponies and stuff and trying to dodge them on the road. And like the unique landscape and everything, the bit of it that hasn't burnt. Come on, sort it out. Anyway, that's just my opinion. So yeah, as things stand, it will remain as it is. And then going forward from when the National Motor Museum Trust are to vacate, the building apparently is going to stay there, and Beaulieu Enterprises will continue to run a car museum there, and I hope they do, and I'll go down and see it, and just like I'll go and see what National Motor Museum Trust go and move to somewhere else. They're saying going forward, there's, effectively, we were in that kind of, when Top Gear trio left Top Gear, we were in that kind of, well, we had Top Gear, now we've got a Grand Tour. James May said it, I think. You had one TV show, now you've got 2. And then Wheeler Dealers went, oi. You have one museum, now you're going to have 2. Could be a good thing, as long as National Motor Museum can actually find somewhere. That is a massive undertaking. I imagine there's going to be some sleepless nights, but good luck to them. I hope they do. I really, really mean it. I hope they find, if they can't stay where they are, I hope they find something new. But I wish they'd just stay where they were. I think they probably do as well. So yeah, Beaulieu will continue to run the site, the Simply events, things like that. Things like the Auto Jumble and the fireworks and the monorail and the house and the ruins and all that is going to stay the same. It's all going to be there, or as that's what they're saying it's going to be. The Trust do have some events of their own. Some of the I've written them down. I've forgotten what they are. Transport talks, classic grill evenings, and exhibitions, etc. Anyway, so that's about as much as I know. It's going to be a messy divorce, and if you want to go down there and go into the house where the cohabiting parents are still living together, you can go in there, and they'll try and be awkwardly nice to you. No, it's fine. You can go down to the Beaulieu and enjoy the Motor Museum as it was, and as it will continue to be, I reckon, for a good couple of years. And then they will probably announce where they're going to go, and then we'll see what Beaulieu do with the museum as it stands now. I can't end on a positive note because I think it's sad. Anyway, yeah, as you were.